Well, it's come time again for the Passover feast in Jerusalem in commemoration of when the death angel passed over the houses in Egypt that had the blood on the door. Those belonged to the Egyptian slaves, and God commanded that the head of the household would slay a lamb, put the blood on the doorposts and lintels, and the death angel wouldn't touch them. But the death angel was going to kill, and he did, killed all the Egyptians, firstborn children in their household, but didn't touch the Israelites, God's people. So this isn't commemoration, it's a celebration of life, so to speak, of what happened so many years ago when they got freed from Egypt. So as usual, Jesus stayed again at the house of Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. And because they lived in Bethany, and it was so close to Jerusalem. And Simon was a neighbor, and he came. It's time to go on to Jerusalem from spending the night in Bethany. Well, as they're going into Jerusalem to commemorate this Passover feast at the temple, which is on Mount Moriah, where Abraham offered Isaac, by the way, was going to offer Isaac, but God put a lamb in place of Isaac. They're on their way to Jerusalem, and the mob starts coming around again, and there's children. Oh, tell us a story, Jesus. They loved Jesus to pieces, and he had them by the hands, and he's probably carrying them sometimes, and there was people around him just loving on him because they had seen with their own eyes what Jesus did. He raised Lazarus from the dead, and now he's walking with them to Jerusalem for the Passover feast. They saw him heal Simon the leper, and now he's walking with them. They've seen him heal the blind, make the cripple to walk again. And then on top of that, Jesus is telling them there's a new kingdom, a new government coming. And oh, did they want to get out from under the thumb of Rome. They were anxious for that. So he's a popular guy all the way around. So they're going in, and Jesus is getting toward the gate. They're going up the hill, and he says, you know what, before we go up there, I want you, he chose 2 disciples, go to a town that's just maybe a couple miles ahead. Go bring me a donkey. You're going to find a little colt that's tied next to its mama. And go there and ask the farmer if it's okay that I borrow that little colt for a while. So the disciples did that, and they came back with the colt. They were so happy. And they said, the farmer said, it's for Jesus? Well, sure, yes, by all means, use the colt. So what they did is they put their robes on the colt to make a nice soft saddle, the fleece and everything. And then they laid palm branches along the way toward the temple, so the colt would have something soft to walk on. And oh, he was just, and they put Jesus on the colt, or he got on himself. He's no wimp. And anyway, he's riding on the colt, going up to the temple in Jerusalem. And on the way, the people, they're lining the streets. It's like a 4th of July parade, bigger than that. They're lining the streets, and they're waving their palm branches. Hosanna to God in the highest, calling him the new king. And they know that Jesus is coming again to make a new kingdom. They thought it was going to be right now. But they were just praising God right and left, and the children were jerking on him. Oh, Jesus, tell me a story. Tell me another story. And he probably had kids on I mean, he was popular all the way around, and so that's why he got on a colt to save a little bit of that. Anyway, the Pharisees saw him coming, and they were so angry. They said, "What? Look what's coming! Oh man!" And they were just horrified, and they told the people, "Quiet down, hush down. There's no reason." They called Jesus every kind of a bad name in the book they could think of, but the crowd wouldn't have it. And the Pharisees said, "Stop this noise! Stop! Stop!" And Jesus came up, and he was on his little colt, and he said, "You know that even if you could make these people stop, even the stones would cry out in praise for God." And he was right. Everybody was just so thrilled with Jesus. But the Pharisees, in fact, there's a scripture, and I'll post it at the heading here. In the book of Genesis, the Lord called Satan a snake, a serpent, a viper, which is not good. And that's exactly what Jesus called the Pharisees. They were like representatives of Satan. He called them, "You generation of vipers." And he had some strong words for them. But right now, they're all singing, they're all happy, and Jesus began to teach them up there on the mountain too about wonderful things that were to come. And I'm going to leave it off there right now because everything is good right now. Bye-bye.